Hi, my name is William Wiederholt. Today we're going to talk about the consideration of weapon safety and storage. The average gun-related incident could have been more than likely prevented by the common practice of gun safety. The intent of this speech is not to support pro-gun ideas or convince you in either side of the argument of the legality of firearms. I have been using firearms since I was 13 years old. My father required me to take the hunter safety course before he would ever even teach me to shoot. Ever since I can remember, I have been taught to practice the safety and proper storage of firearms. I have 8 years of military service, 2 of those years of which I was the primary armorer for my unit, which means I was in charge of the maintenance and physical security of the weaponry for that unit. The speech contains information that is not from my opinion, but from what I have learned to be facts and what I will use to help educate you on the subject. For anyone who owns or plans to own firearms, safety and control of those firearms should be their uppermost concern. Control and safety is the owner's responsibility, not the firearms. Too often are people involved in unnecessary accidents with firearms, especially children. Firearms or guns are under constant scrutiny by political figures and followers. I think we are familiar with some of the public shootings that have occurred in, say, the past 10 years. First, I will identify some of the shooting incidents of the past. Next, I will give my explanation of how incidents such as these could have been prevented. Do not include active shooters incidents, but also everyday on the range household incidents. Second, I will give my personal explanation of why making guns illegal isn't going to necessarily prevent these incidents like we might think it will, or some may believe that it will. Historically, there have been several firearms incidents in the past. Some of these incidents include 2015, Elmo, Missouri. A grandchild gets a hold of a gun and kills a baby sibling. 2014 was in Maysville, Washington. High school student killed 2 and wounded several and then killed themselves. 2012, Newton, Connecticut. We also known as the Sandy Hook Elementary School incident, where a man kills 26, including his own mother. In 2009, Killing, Texas, which was the Fort Hood incident, in which an Army officer killed 13, which included 10 Army soldiers and 3 civilians. These are only a few examples of the damage that a gun and a person with the intent to hurt people can do. Other gun incidents, personal injuries from personal accident discharges, range or hunting incidents, or neglecting firearms around children. Sadly, people misuse or neglect their responsibilities of their firearms. Some of these incidents are not necessarily preventable. Some with the intent to harm innocent people may not be able to be stopped. That incident usually involves a person's intent to hurt another, or that a person's neglect to their responsibility as a gun owner causes serious bodily harm to either themselves or somebody else. Incidents like these can be considered to be naturally occurring. A person that possesses a knife, for instance, is more likely to cut themselves than someone that does not. Sometimes accidents just happen, like a negative discharge, or someone accidentally fires a loaded weapon without the intent to. In a tragic situation, that bullet accidentally fired hits either that person holding the gun or someone else. These incidents can be avoided with the practice of gun safety and discipline. A person who owns and uses firearms should know that a safe gun is an unloaded gun. Firearms, when not in use, should be unloaded and secured. When in the use, should always be pointed in a safe direction where it will likely be fired. These people that consist of hardened criminals, murderers, or terrorists, and mentally ill are the primary concern of us innocent people. It is these people that use firearms to take lives for personal gain that create the firmest argument in gun control. I completely agree that without firearms, less people would be harmed or killed. The problem with this argument is that it only makes sense in a world where firearms don't exist and haven't existed. Safe storage from children. As a gun owner and a parent, one would think that it's common sense that a parent shouldn't leave a firearm unsecured from a child. The incident in Elmo, Missouri is a perfect example. A grandchild located a firearm that was not secure in the home. The child then accidentally ended the life of their own baby sibling because of the neglect from the guardians of that residence. Too many incidents, including kids and guns that were not stored away properly, have taken the lives of innocent children Fortunately, in today's world, those guardians are held accountable for such neglect. It is no longer considered just an accident when responsibilities are neglected in consideration of being a parent guardian and a gun owner. One argument that might be that if guns did not exist, then these incidents would never have taken place. While very true, that is not the case in this matter or in America's current situation. My argument is that if the gun had been stored properly, unloaded, either out of the reach of children or secured in a case, these type of incidents could have been prevented. If you are currently a gun owner and parent guardian, then you should be aware that unsecure loaded weapons are a dangerous problem. It is in you and your family's best interest to change the conditions immediately for which you store your weapons. Children should not only not be allowed access to a firearm, but especially a loaded firearm or accessibility to a gun and the ammunition that goes along with it. We must also consider that while the purchase of a firearm is regulated to not allow persons who have been charged with a felony or criminal assault are not allowed to purchase firearms. While these regulations account for criminals, it does not account for those who have not received criminal charges yet. The majority of people who commit a public shooting were able to purchase the firearm actually legally. Either that or they were able to get the firearm from a close friend or a relative. This is where the major threat lies to a lot of innocent people. It also explains why responsible firearms should be more disciplined in how they store their weapons and to whom they allow to borrow those weapons. The hard fact is that firearms of all kinds are here in America and aren't going anywhere. As stated before, if firearms didn't exist, less people would be hurt by them. There's no doubt about that. That just isn't the case, though. By making weapons of any kind illegal for even those who qualify to obtain them, we are giving the advantage to the black market. This will make it easier for a criminal to obtain a weapon to do harm and more difficult for a law-abiding citizen to defend themselves. In conclusion, I discussed the following things: gun-related incidents, preventable methods to those incidents, and gun control. To conclude this information, guns should be secured safely and unloaded. No one, including children, should have accessibility to your firearms. Guns and ammunition for those guns should be secured separately for further preventable measures. Everyone should become familiar with the proper storage of weapons and to whom should and shouldn't possess a firearm. The world is not a perfect place, so worst case scenarios should be considered. Thank you.